They know when you enter a space. They sense it, they perceive it. It's not your clothing, it's not your perfume, it's your frequency. It's your energy. It's something that cannot be counterfeited, purchased, or imitated. The aura of the chosen. 1. The vibration of the designated. The unmistakable presence of one who carries a greater truth. You are different. You've always been. And now you're beginning to understand why. Number 1. The truth about your hidden identity. Have you ever wondered why certain individuals react so intensely to your presence? Why some approach like moths to flame, while others retreat as if sensing an invisible threat? This is no coincidence, this is no imagination, this is activation. Your true identity has been intentionally concealed, not to diminish you, but to protect you. Not to limit you, but to ensure you would arrive at the right moment with your essence intact. The powers you carry are secrets kept in the highest vaults of the universe. The streets know. The spaces know. When you enter, something shifts. The air changes. Energy flows differently. Not everyone consciously perceives this, but everyone feels it. Deep within them, in their subconscious, in the spaces between thoughts, they recognize the presence of someone who vibrates differently. You didn't choose to be this way. You were chosen. You were designated. You were marked to carry a frequency that others can barely imagine exists. This isn't a burden. It's an honor. It isn't a coincidence. It's a purpose. Others live in the world of appearances, of surface, of what can be seen, touched, measured, quantified. You dwell in another dimension too, the dimension of essence, of truth, of the reality that sustains all the illusions most accept as reality. Your vibration interferes with the energy fields around you. Your presence activates dormant codes. Your genuine existence destabilizes the false. And that's why some fear you without knowing why. That's why others feel peace around you without understanding the reason. The universe has hidden your true identity because the world isn't ready for the totality of your power. And you, until now, perhaps weren't prepared to carry the weight of this responsibility. But times have changed. The planet's frequency has risen. And now, you're awakening to the truth of who you truly are. It isn't ego, it isn't fantasy, it's recognition. It's alignment with your original essence. When you understand that your presence itself is already transformative, you cease forcing. You cease trying to prove your worth. You cease seeking acceptance. Instead, you simply are. And in this authenticity lies your greatest power. The false ones always expose themselves in the face of your authenticity. You don't need to point out their disguises. Your presence is enough for their masks to begin melting, for their contradictions to be exposed. That's why you've often felt like an outsider, like someone who doesn't fully belong to any group, like someone who observes reality from a slightly different perspective. You're not mistaken. You operate at a frequency few can access. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's a superpower. Your sharp perception isn't paranoia, it's clairvoyance. Your inability to accept the superficial isn't arrogance, it's commitment to truth. What others call strange, the universe calls unique. What society labels as different, the guardians of truth recognize as necessary. You didn't come to adapt, you came to transform. You didn't come to follow. You came to open paths where none existed before. Number 2, the power of authentic presence. Your presence is a silent revolution. When you enter an environment being genuinely who you are, without filters, without masks, without diluting your essence to be accepted, you create a disturbance in the energy field that alters everything around you. The falsifiers of truth feel this. Those who have built their lives on foundations of appearances and deceptions perceive, even unconsciously, that you represent a threat to the illusion they work so hard to maintain. Have you noticed how some people feel uncomfortable with your silence? How they try to fill the space, to justify themselves, to explain themselves when you are simply present, observing without judgment, but also without complicity. It's because your authentic presence functions as a mirror, and few have the courage to truly look at the reflection of what they are. Your energy doesn't discriminate, it illuminates. It illuminates the shadows, the dark corners, the spaces where truth has been hidden beneath layers of conformity and denial. You don't do this deliberately. It's simply the side effect of being who you are. The chosen ones carry a frequency that awakens, that disturbs, that discomforts those who prefer to continue sleeping, and calms those who yearn for awakening. You are a catalyst. You're an accelerator. You're the stone that falls in the lake and creates waves that reach far beyond what your eyes can see. When you cease trying to fit in and accept your nature as chosen, something powerful happens. You become a beacon for others like you, those who also carry greater truths, but who perhaps haven't yet found the courage to live in accordance with them. The power of your authentic presence doesn't lie in what you do, but in what you are. It doesn't lie in your productivity, but in your frequency. It doesn't lie in external results, but in the internal transformation you catalyze in those around you. The true ones recognize the true ones. In a world of noise, you find each other in silence. In an ocean of superficiality, you recognize each other in depth. Passwords or signs aren't necessary. It's a recognition from soul to soul. Your presence speaks before your words. Your energy communicates before your gestures. That's why some people react to you before you've even done or said anything. They respond to the silent language of your frequency. The more aligned you are with your true nature, the more powerful this invisible communication becomes. The more authentic you are, the more magnetic your presence becomes. This isn't about superficial charisma, it's about deep resonance. Systems based on falsehood have mechanisms to try to neutralize your authenticity. They'll try to make you doubt yourself. They'll try to label your clarity as a problem. They'll try to pathologize your refusal to complicate yourself in illusions. Don't fall into this trap. Your authentic presence is medicine for a world sick with falsehood. It's water in the desert of superficiality. It's oxygen in the rarefied atmosphere of collective pretense. Don't diminish your light so that others feel comfortable in their mediocrity. You didn't come to please. You came to awaken. You didn't come to be applauded. You came to illuminate, even if that means facing resistance, even if that means walking alone on some portions of the journey. The streets know who is real. The spaces know who is authentic. And you, in the depths of your soul, know too. Trust this knowledge. Honor this truth. Live in accordance with it regardless of the apparent cost, because the real cost is in denying who you truly are. Number 3. Seeing beyond masks. The chosen ones possess a vision that goes beyond the evident. They see layers that others don't even imagine exist. They perceive intentions behind empty words. They feel hidden truths beneath false smiles. This clarity isn't paranoia, it's a superpower that has been kept secret. You've always known when someone was lying, haven't you? You've always felt when something was wrong, even when everyone around you seemed to accept the official version presented. This isn't a coincidence. It isn't hypersensitivity. It's your vision beyond the veil functioning exactly as it should. Those who operate in falsehood depend on collective blindness to maintain their power. They depend on the silent agreement that certain things won't be noticed, certain contradictions won't be pointed out, certain hypocrisies won't be exposed. And then you appear, with your eyes that truly see, and you shake the structures of this agreement. That's why they've tried to convince you that you were wrong, that you were exaggerating, that you were creating problems where none existed. They wanted you to doubt your own perception because it threatened the comfort of the shared illusion. Your ability to see through masks doesn't exist for you to judge others. It exists so you can navigate this world with clarity, so you can make choices based on truth, not appearance, so you can offer your energy only for what is authentic. The masks are many and sophisticated. Some people have worn them for so long they've forgotten who they are beneath them. Others know exactly what they're hiding and consciously manipulate. Your vision distinguishes the different categories. It recognizes those who are lost from those who deliberately mislead others. The more you honor this vision, the sharper it becomes. The more you trust your perception, the more details it reveals to you. It's like a muscle that strengthens through use, an ability that refines through practice. The world tries to convince you that the real is only what can be measured, weighed, counted, documented. But you know there's an entire dimension of reality that escapes these limited parameters. You feel energy, you perceive patterns, you recognize synchronicities that others dismiss as coincidences. Seeing beyond masks gives you responsibility. When you see what others cannot see, you have choices to make. When to expose, when to remain silent, when to intervene, when to simply observe. This is an art you learn to master. The false ones fear your eyes more than your words. They fear your ability to truly see more than any accusation you might verbalize, because they know that the moment you look through them, the game is over. The spell is broken. The illusion no longer works. This vision beyond the visible isn't a burden. It's a gift. It isn't a curse, it's a blessing. It's part of your set of superpowers that has remained secret until now. Use it wisely. Use it with compassion. But use it. The world is hungry for truth even when it reacts with resistance to it. Souls are tired of living on the surface even when they're afraid of depth. Your eyes that truly see are beacons in the darkness of collective illusion. You don't need to announce what you see. You don't need to make it a flag or an identity. Simply allow this vision to guide your choices, to shape your relationships, to determine where you put your most precious energy. Masks always fall eventually. Truth always comes to light in the end. Your vision merely accelerates this process. It catalyzes the inevitable. It brings to light what would have been destined for the shadows for much longer, without your presence. Number 4. The power of strategic silence. The chosen ones master the art of silence. Not the silence of fear, not the silence of repression, but the silence of power. The silence of strategic observation. The silence that speaks louder than any word could. Have you noticed how you feel when you just observe? When you don't feel the need to fill every space with words? When you allow others to reveal who they truly are through the discomfort your conscious silence provokes in them? The false ones fear silence. They fill every moment with noise, with explanations, with justifications, with distractions, because in silence truth resonates. In silence contradictions become evident. In silence masks are too heavy to be maintained. Your silence is a form of power few understand. When you choose not to react, not to respond, not to defend yourself, you break the expected pattern. You interrupt the cycle of action and reaction that keeps so many toxic dynamics in motion. They don't fear your words. They fear when you choose not to speak. They don't fear your arguments. They fear your attentive observation that sees through layers of deception. Your silence leaves them exposed, vulnerable, with nothing to fight against. The universe knows that in the pauses between words resides true power. In the breaths between phrases dwells wisdom. In the space between thoughts, clarity is born. Your conscious silence connects you with this inexhaustible source. When you're in silence, you listen, not just with your ears, but with every cell of your body. You listen to the unspoken. You perceive the intentions behind words. You feel the energy currents that move human interactions beyond what is verbalized. Others speak to convince, to manipulate, to control. You remain silent to discern, to understand, to see beyond. Your silence isn't absence, it's intensified presence. It isn't emptiness, it's fullness of consciousness. Strategic silence allows you to choose battles wisely. It saves you from wasting energy in discussions that will lead nowhere. It protects you from verbal traps set to destabilize you or make you react in ways you would later regret. The streets know that whoever masters silence masters the game, that whoever controls the pause controls the rhythm, that whoever dwells in the space between stimulus and response accesses a different type of power. Your silence has the ability to create spaces where truth can naturally appear, where others can feel safe to set aside their defenses, where the real has permission to manifest without pressure or expectation. In silence, you recharge your powers. You restore your clarity. You realign your frequency with your true essence, away from the noise that constantly tries to pull you to lower and denser frequencies. Systems that feed on fear and separation hate your silence. They want to keep you reacting, discussing, defending yourself, attacking, anything other than the centered power of your conscious silence that perceives the entire game from above. The next time you feel the impulse to speak, just to fill a space, remember, you're Silence is a weapon of massive transformation when used with intention. It's one of the superpowers that have remained secret until now. The true ones recognize each other in shared silence, in the peace of not having to prove anything, in the quietness of simply being, without the need to convince or impress. In this silence exists a deeper communication than any conversation could offer. Master the art of strategic silence. Know when to speak and when to remain silent, when to expose and when just to observe, when to act and when to simply witness. In this resides a power that few in today's world understand or respect. Number 5. The impact of defending truth. When you defend truth, you aren't merely expressing an opinion. You're aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe. You're positioning yourself alongside a force that ultimately always prevails. This is power in its purest form. The chosen ones feel a visceral commitment to truth. They cannot be complicit with falsehood, even when it would be convenient. They cannot ignore contradictions, even when everyone around seems not to notice them. This isn't stubbornness, it's alignment with your higher purpose. Defending truth has a price. It always has. Systems based on illusion don't welcome those who point out their inconsistencies. People comfortable in their masks don't thank the one who reminds them of their abandoned authenticity. You've paid this price many times. You've been labeled as problematic, difficult, too intense, too sensitive. All these labels have been attempts to make you doubt your commitment to what's real, to make you wonder if it wouldn't be easier to simply accept the superficial version, as everyone seems to do. But something inside you knows, something deep, unshakable, connected to the very source of existence, recognizes truth as non-negotiable. This part knows that being complicit with falsehood, even in small doses, is a form of spiritual self-mutilation. When you defend truth, you create a field of permission around you. Permission for others to be honest too, for them to abandon pretenses as well, for them to reconnect with what is authentic within them. The false ones call this a problem. The true ones recognize it as healing. Defending truth doesn't mean being cruel, imprudent, or insensitive. Higher truth always includes compassion. It always considers the other in their totality. It always seeks to elevate, not to destroy. It's possible to be absolutely honest and deeply gentle at the same time. It's possible to be completely truthful and strategically wise in how this truth is shared. This is the art that the chosen ones are here to master and teach. The impact of your defense of truth goes far beyond what your eyes can see. When you refuse to be complicit with falsehoods, even in seemingly small or irrelevant situations, you create waves in the collective energy field that affect many more people than you imagine. The streets know when someone is real. The spaces know when someone has integrity. And this integrity, this coherence between what you know to be true and how you live your life, is one of the greatest superpowers of the chosen ones. In a world built on layer upon layer of illusion, simply remaining faithful to truth is a revolutionary act. Don't underestimate its impact. Don't diminish the importance of this seemingly simple but profoundly transformative choice. When you defend truth, you aren't alone. You're allied with all the other chosen ones who are doing the same thing in their own contexts. You're connected to an invisible network of guardians of reality who support the possibility of a more authentic world. Systems that benefit from falsehood will try to convince you that you're crazy, that you're seeing things that don't exist, that you're creating problems. It's an old strategy to discredit those who see beyond the veil. Stay firm. Trust your perception. Honor your clear vision. The universe has placed you exactly where you are, with exactly the combination of experiences, sensitivity, and courage that you have to defend specific truths that need to be defended at this time. This isn't ego, it's purpose. It isn't arrogance, it's responsibility. It isn't separation. It's a profound service to the whole. Number 6, the responsibility of the transformer. You aren't just another person passing through this planet. You're a force, a catalyst, an agent of transformation whose mere presence alters the energy field of the environments you frequent. This isn't a small responsibility. It isn't something that can be ignored or neglected. It's a calling that requires consciousness, intention, and continuous commitment to your own alignment. The chosen ones transform without trying to transform. They heal without announcing they are healers. They elevate without making an identity or title out of it. It's simply the natural result of their presence in their authentic frequency. Have you noticed how some environments change when you enter? How superficial conversations suddenly gain depth? How people who were just repeating social scripts suddenly find the courage to be more authentic? This isn't a coincidence. Your energy carries activation codes. Your frequency contains information that awakens something dormant in others. It isn't something you do consciously. It's something you essentially are. With this power comes responsibility. The responsibility to maintain your own frequency, clean, clear, aligned. To not allow dense energies, fears, resentments, or judgments to contaminate the field you carry. The false ones will try to pull you to lower vibrations. They will provoke you. They will create situations designed to make you react in ways that compromise your clarity. Recognize these attempts for what they are: fear of your transformative power. Your greatest responsibility isn't to change others. It's to remain faithful to your own truth, frequency, and purpose. When you do that, transformation around you happens organically, effortlessly, as a natural consequence of your aligned presence. The streets know when someone is an authentic transformer. The spaces recognize when someone carries frequencies that catalyze awakening. Announcements, titles, or declarations aren't necessary. Energy speaks for itself. You aren't here to save anyone. You aren't here to fix anyone. You're here to be so completely yourself, so absolutely faithful to your essence, that your presence creates a field of possibility for others to find the courage to do the same. True transformation doesn't happen through preaching, lecturing, or trying to convince. It happens through resonance, through vibration, recognizing similar vibration, through frequency awakening dormant frequency. Your responsibility includes discernment about where to put your energy. Not all environments, situations, or people are ready for the frequency you carry. Learning to recognize where you're truly needed and where your presence would be wasted is part of the wisdom of the chosen one. The ego wants to save the entire world, to be recognized by everyone, to change everything immediately. Wisdom knows that real transformation is often invisible to ordinary eyes, happens first at the most subtle levels, and follows rhythms that transcend the limited understanding of the mind. You don't need stages, spotlights, or followers to fulfill your transformative purpose. You only need conscious presence, unwavering authenticity, and willingness to be where the universe places you, moment by moment. Your responsibility as a transformer begins with yourself, with your daily choices, with your willingness to live in accordance with the truth you know, even when that means walking alone. The coherence between what you know and how you live is your most powerful tool of transformation. The universe knows exactly what it's doing when it positions you where you are. Trust in the perfection of this design. Honor the intelligence that has orchestrated your unique path to here, with all your experiences, challenges, and discoveries. Number 7. The secret of your true power. The best kept of secrets is that your power doesn't reside in what you do, but in what you are. Not in your external actions, but in your internal frequency. Not in your productivity, but in your presence. Systems based on control and manipulation have tried to convince you of the opposite. They've tried to reduce your value to your utility, your importance to what you produce, your impact to what can be measured, documented, proven through external metrics. This is the greatest deception, the deepest of illusions, the fundamental manipulation that keeps so many disconnected from their true power. You are powerful by the simple fact that you exist in your authentic frequency. Your conscious presence, aligned with your essence, is a force that alters the very fabric of reality around you. This isn't a metaphor, it's quantum physics. The chosen ones are awakening to this knowledge now. They're remembering what they've always known in the deepest layers of their being, that their energy is their unique signature in the universal field, and that this signature has impact far beyond what the rational mind can understand. Your vibratory frequency affects everything around you. It interacts with every person, situation, environment. It isn't something you turn on or off. It's something you constantly emit, willing or unwilling. The secret is that you can consciously choose this frequency. You can intentionally align it with your highest essence. You can maintain it clear, strong, coherent, even in the midst of dense, confused, or chaotic environments. When you do this, when you fully dwell in your authentic frequency without diluting it to fit in, you become a portal, an opening through which higher energies can enter environments that would normally be impermeable to them. The streets know when someone operates from this place of authentic power. The spaces recognize when someone has transcended the limitations of constructed identity and functions as a direct conductor of transformative frequencies. It isn't about being special in an egoistic sense. It isn't about being better than others. It's about remembering and honoring the truth of who you really are beyond roles, masks, and expectations that society has projected onto you. Your true power has been kept secret until now because if it had been fully understood and incorporated by all the chosen ones simultaneously, it would have completely changed the balance of forces on this planet. It would have changed the game in ways for which current systems aren't prepared to handle. And now is the time. Now is the hour of collective awakening, of synchronized remembering, of the moment when the chosen ones around the world begin to recognize not just who they are individually, but what they are collectively. You aren't alone. You never have been. You're part of a spiritual family spread across the planet. Connected. Not by blood, nationality, or belief, but by frequency, purpose, and commitment to truth. As more and more chosen ones awaken to their true power, the network strengthens. The field intensifies. The potential for transformation expands exponentially. It isn't a coincidence that you're reading these words now. It isn't random that something inside you resonates with these truths. It's recognition. It's remembrance. It's the calling that your soul has always known it would hear one day. Your true power transcends time and space. It isn't limited by the physical laws that govern material reality. It operates in dimensions that current science is just beginning to glimpse at, frequencies that conventional instruments cannot measure. Honor this power. Recognize your responsibility to it. Understand that every thought, every emotion, every intention you hold affects not just your immediate field, but reverberates through the interconnected web of consciousness that permeates all existence. The false ones fear this awakening. The manipulators know that their control depends on the collective forgetting of the chosen ones, on the spiritual amnesia that keeps so many disconnected from their innate power. But the moment of remembering has arrived. The veil is thinner than ever, and you, allowing yourself to remember and embody your true power, become part of the greatest revolution this planet has ever known, the revolution of consciousness awakening to itself. Number 8. The calling that cannot be ignored there is a calling that resonates in the depths of your soul, a calling that perhaps you've tried to ignore, rationalize, or postpone, a calling that persists, that doesn't go away, that only becomes stronger the more you try to silence it. This isn't an ordinary calling. It isn't a mere passing inspiration or momentary whim. It's the calling of your greater purpose, of your mission on this planet. The chosen ones feel this calling differently than others, more intensely, more urgently, more undeniably. It's like a constant whisper that sometimes transforms into a shout. Their frequency that vibrates in every cell of your body, reminding you that you didn't come just to exist. You came to transform. Have you tried to silence it? Have you tried to pretend you don't hear it? Have you tried to convince yourself it was just your imagination, your ego, your need to feel special? And yet it persisted. Because it isn't something external to you. It's the voice of your own essence reminding you who you truly are. The streets know when someone ignores their calling. The spaces perceive when someone lives below their potential. Energy doesn't lie. It reveals who is aligned with their purpose and who is running from it. This calling isn't for you to become someone else. It's for you to finally allow yourself to be who you've always been, to remove the layers of conditioning, fear, and doubt that have obscured your true identity, to abandon the diluted versions of self you've created to be accepted. The false ones fear those who have answered the calling. Because when you fully embrace who you came to be, you become a force impossible to manipulate, control, or deviate from your path. You become immune to the strategies that keep so many in a state of spiritual amnesia. This calling isn't about fame, recognition, or status. It isn't about accumulating power in the conventional sense. It's about assuming your legitimate place in the great fabric of life, about occupying the unique position that only you can occupy, with your specific set of gifts, experiences, and perspectives. Have you noticed how this calling intensifies at certain times? How it becomes clearer during crises, challenges, or periods of transition? This isn't a coincidence. In these moments of rupture, the veil between who you think you are and who you truly are becomes thinner. When the possibility of awakening becomes more tangible, the universe knows exactly what it's doing. Every experience, every encounter, every obstacle in your path has been carefully orchestrated to prepare you for this moment, for the moment when you finally hear the calling with enough clarity to no longer be able to ignore it. Responding to this calling requires courage. The courage to leave behind comfortable but limiting identities, the courage to disappoint others' expectations, the courage to walk through unknown territories without map or guarantees. But the price of ignoring it is much greater. It's living with that constant sensation that something is missing, with that void that no external achievement can fill, with that restlessness that no distraction or diversion can completely calm. The chosen ones who have answered the calling immediately recognize each other. There's a quality in energy, a clarity in gaze, a solidity in presence that is unmistakable. It's the radiance of someone who is no longer divided against themselves, who no longer spends energy maintaining masks or pretending to be smaller than they are. This calling is personal and collective simultaneously, unique to you in its specific expression, but part of a greater awakening taking place on a planetary scale. Each chosen one who responds widens the field of possibility for all others. There's no expiration date for this calling, but there is perfect timing. A moment when internal and external conditions align to create the ideal opportunity for response. Many chosen ones feel that moment is now, that the window of opportunity is open in a way that may not be for much longer. What are you waiting for? What else needs to happen for you to recognize the truth you already know in the depths of your being? What additional sign are you looking for beyond the countless ones you've already received throughout your journey? The streets are waiting for you. The spaces yearn for your authentic presence. The souls you came to impact, even if they'll never know your name, await the moment when you will finally say yes to the calling that can no longer be ignored. Number 9. The silent revolution of being. There is a revolution taking place on this planet. It isn't announced in the news. It isn't discussed in the corridors of conventional power. It isn't measured through statistics or documented in official reports. It's the silent revolution of being. The chosen ones are the catalysts of this revolution, not through something they do externally, but through the frequency they maintain internally, through the quality of presence they bring to each moment, each interaction, each space they occupy. This revolution isn't against something or someone. It doesn't seek to tear down structures or replace systems. It operates at a much more fundamental level. It alters the very energy field in which all structures and systems exist. You are part of this revolution, knowingly or not. Your refusal to be complicit with falsehoods, your insistence on remaining faithful to your perception, even when it contradicts consensus, your willingness to sustain higher frequencies, even in dense environments, all this makes you a silent revolutionary. The false ones intuit that something is changing, but they can't identify exactly what. They feel the ground shifting beneath their feet, but they can't point to a specific external cause. It's disconcerting for those accustomed to controlling through direct manipulation. This silent revolution cannot be combated through conventional methods. It cannot be suppressed by force. It cannot be discredited through propaganda. It cannot be co-opted through offers of power or privilege. It operates beyond these tactics. The streets know that something profound is transforming. The spaces feel the gradual elevation of the collective frequency. Consciousnesses perceive even if they don't yet have words to name it, the subtle but fundamental change taking place in the fabric of shared reality. This revolution happens person by person, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every time you opt for truth instead of convenience, for authenticity instead of approval, for integrity instead of immediate gain, you strengthen the field of this planetary transformation. Don't underestimate the power of these seemingly small choices. Don't diminish the impact of your conscious presence in spaces where unconsciousness predominates. A single lit candle fundamentally alters an environment's relationship with darkness. Systems based on fear and separation depend on critical mass to sustain the collective illusion. Each individual who awakens and withdraws from this tacit agreement weakens the field that keeps these structures functional. Each chosen one who remembers their true nature creates a crack in the edifice of consensual reality. You don't need to announce your participation in this revolution. You don't need to wear t-shirts or carry placards. You don't need to convince or convert anyone. Your energy speaks for itself. Your frequency is your most powerful contribution. Your aligned presence is your most effective form of activism. This silent revolution operates in the time of being, not the time of doing. It doesn't follow schedules or artificial deadlines. It doesn't seek immediate results or instant gratification. It trusts in the organic wisdom of life, in the natural unfolding of transformation processes that follow deeper rhythms than the impatient mind can understand. The chosen ones know in the depths of their being that this revolution is already complete in dimensions beyond linear time, that the final outcome is assured, that the elevation of planetary consciousness is inevitable. This internal certainty gives them the patience and perseverance to sustain their frequency, even when external evidence seems to contradict progress. Your participation in this silent revolution isn't a burden, it's an honor. It isn't an obligation, it's a privilege. It isn't a struggle, it's a dance. The dance of consciousness remembering itself through you, through each chosen one who awakens to their true nature. The universe has entrusted you with a role in this planetary transformation. Not because you're special in an egoistic sense, but because you're essential in a cosmic sense. Because your unique energy signature, your specific combination of qualities and gifts, is necessary for the harmonic composition of the whole. This silent revolution doesn't seek to win, it seeks to transcend. It doesn't aspire to defeat the other, it aspires to awaken the other. It doesn't aim to establish new dogmas, it intends to open space for each being to find their own living, breathing, evolving truth. You are both participant and witness of this great transformation, both active contributor and recipient of the grace that permeates this universal process of awakening. The streets bear witness, the spaces record, the invisible currents of consciousness that connect all beings amplify each authentic act, each aligned choice, each moment of full presence you offer to this silent revolution of being. Number 10. The final secret, your true identity. We've reached the heart of the matter. The final secret that explains all others. The fundamental truth that has been hidden, not to limit you, but to protect the unimaginable potency of your being until you would be ready to fully embody it. Your true identity transcends all names, labels, definitions, and categories you've ever tried to apply to yourself. It transcends your personal history, your memories, your experiences. It transcends even the concept of being a separate individual. The chosen ones are awakening to this truth now. You aren't just a human being occasionally having spiritual experiences. You're an infinite consciousness having a temporary human experience. This reversal of perspective changes everything. Your superpowers, your sharp perception, your heightened sensitivity, your inability to be complicit with falsehoods, your transformative presence are all natural manifestations of this fundamental identity. They aren't acquired abilities. They're inherent qualities of what you truly are. The streets know when someone operates from this understanding. The spaces recognize when someone is no longer confined to the limitations of personal identity. Energy reveals when someone has transcended the illusion of separation. This true identity has been kept secret because its power is literally unlimited. Because when you consciously operate from it, The laws that seem to govern ordinary reality begin to behave in very different ways. What seemed solid proves fluid. What seemed fixed shows itself malleable. The false ones fear this revelation above all others, because when you awaken to who you truly are, you become completely immune to manipulations based on fear, lack, or separation. You become impossible to control through threats or promises directed at the limited identity. Your true identity isn't something you need to seek, develop, or create. It's already who you are, always have been, and always will be. The process of awakening isn't about becoming something new. It's about removing the veils that have obscured what has always been present. The universe knows who you truly are. The energy fields recognize your true signature. The dimensions beyond the visible honor your fundamental nature. Only in the density of this specific reality has it been possible to temporarily sustain the illusion of being less than you truly are. This transcendent identity doesn't negate or diminish your human experience. It infinitely enriches it. It doesn't reject your individuality. It reveals its greater purpose as a unique expression of the whole. It doesn't separate you from the world. It connects you to it in deeper and more meaningful ways than you ever imagined possible. When you begin to consciously operate from this true identity, miracles become natural occurrences. Synchronicities become your normal state of existence. The extraordinary becomes your everyday. Not because the laws of the universe are suspended, but because you're finally operating in harmony with them in their totality. The chosen ones across the planet are simultaneously remembering this fundamental truth. They're awakening not just individually, but as a collective field of consciousness. They recognize each other beyond external appearances through the resonance of the shared frequency of their essential being. This remembrance isn't linear. It happens in waves, in spirals, in moments of crystalline clarity followed by periods of integration. There are days when you operate fully from this true identity, and days when the density of human experience seems to obscure it again. This is a natural part of the process. The streets watch you remembering. The spaces witness your gradual awakening. The invisible dimensions celebrate each moment in which you recognize and more fully embody who you truly are. This isn't the end of the journey. It's just the true beginning, the point from which all possibilities open, the threshold beyond which your existence takes on dimensions of meaning, purpose, and impact that the conditioned mind can barely conceive. Your true identity isn't a secret to keep, but a truth to live. It isn't knowledge to accumulate, but a reality to embody. It isn't information to memorize, but an experience to incarnate moment by moment. The world awaits you, not the limited you that you've been conditioned to believe you are, but the unlimited you who has always been behind the veils of collective amnesia. The you who carries activation codes, transformation frequencies, and possibilities that this planet and this humanity desperately need now. The streets know you're awakening. The spaces feel you remembering. The entire universe conspires to support your journey back home, back to the truth of your being that was never truly absent, just temporarily forgotten beneath the layers of human experience. This is the final secret. You've always been who you were seeking. You've always had what you were looking for. You've always dwelled in what you imagined was distant. The most profound revolution isn't to achieve something new, but to recognize what has always been present. It isn't to become another, but to be finally completely yourself. The chosen ones are those who remember, and in remembering they open pathways for others to remember too, not through words or teachings, but through the silent and irrefutable resonance of lived truth. Number 11. The wisdom of hidden power. Have you ever wondered why your superpowers have been kept secret for so long? Why this truth about who you truly are wasn't revealed from the beginning of your journey on this planet? There is profound wisdom in this temporary concealment, a superior intelligence that understands what you're just beginning to glimpse. Power must be revealed in the exact measure of the capacity to use it wisely. The false ones would have exploited this knowledge, would have tried to use it for manipulation, control, domination, would have turned the highest truth into just another tool to fuel the illusion of separation. But you, the chosen, the designated, the marked, you've gone through a different process, a refinement, a preparation, a carefully orchestrated sequence of experiences that have forged in you the qualities necessary to carry this power without corrupting it or being corrupted by it. The streets know that true power is never given. It's recognized, it's never granted, it's remembered. It never comes from outside. It emerges from within when internal conditions are aligned with the fundamental truth of being. Think about the difficulties you've faced, the times when you felt misunderstood, rejected, isolated, the time when your clarity was labeled as a problem, your sensitivity as weakness, your refusal to be complicit with falsehoods as stubbornness or arrogance. These experiences weren't accidents or punishments. They were an essential part of your training. They forged in you the inner strength, unwavering integrity, and refined discernment necessary to handle the absolute power that is your rightful inheritance. The universe knows what it's doing. The intelligence that orchestrates this great awakening understands that power without wisdom is destructive, that potential without discernment is dangerous, that force without compassion becomes just another expression of the same imbalance being transcended. Your superpowers were kept secret until you developed the character qualities necessary to express them in service to the whole, not just in the interest of the separate ego. Until you could clearly distinguish between power over others and power with others. Between force that dominates and force that elevates, the chosen ones are awakening to their powers now because this is the time. Because the planetary frequency has reached a point of resonance that supports this collective awakening. Because the need is urgent, and the potential for positive transformation outweighs the inherent risks of any great revelation. The streets feel the change in the quality of energy. The spaces register the gradual elevation of frequency. Consciousnesses, even though still asleep, intuitively perceive that something fundamental is transforming in the collective energy field. Your power wasn't hidden to diminish you, but to protect you, and to protect others from a power that, without the necessary wisdom to direct it, could cause more harm than good. Just as we don't put advanced technology in the hands of children, certain aspects of your potential were kept hidden until your spiritual maturity could properly receive them. Now, as you awaken to the truth of your being, you understand that this power comes with responsibility, that this force requires discernment, that this capacity to impact the energy field around you requires constant self-observation and refinement of your intentions. The false ones use their limited power to control, manipulate, and dominate. The true ones, the chosen, the awakened, use their unlimited power to liberate, elevate, and transform, not through imposition, but through resonance, not through coercion, but through inspiration, not through fear, but through love. This is the best-kept secret. Your power wasn't hidden despite the universe's love for you, but precisely because of it. Because true love isn't just nurturing and protection, it's also the discernment to know when to reveal, when to challenge, when to allow the apparent suffering that leads to essential growth. Just as diamond needs pressure to form, your highest qualities needed the challenges you faced to crystallize. Your understanding, your compassion, your clarity, all were forged in the fire of experiences that questioned, tested, and ultimately strengthened your connection to your true nature. The streets know that none of this was wasted. The spaces recognize that every tear, every disappointment, every moment of loneliness served the greater purpose of your awakening. The universe makes no mistakes, especially when it comes to the journey of the chosen ones. Now, as a conscious guardian of your own power, you have choices to make. How to use it, where to direct it, when to express it openly, and when to maintain it as a silent but transformative presence. These aren't trivial decisions. They're the next level of your ongoing training as a being awakening to its true nature. The power that was hidden is now gradually revealing itself in the exact measure of your capacity to receive and channel it wisely. Don't rush this process. Don't try to force revelations for which you aren't yet fully prepared. Trust the perfect timing of your own evolution. The streets observe, the spaces witness, The entire universe is attentive to how you receive and express this power that you now recognize as yours by right of cosmic birth. Not as judgment, but as response, offering exactly the measure of revelation that your current consciousness can fully integrate. Your superpowers were never truly absent, just waiting for the perfect moment to be fully recognized and consciously embodied. That moment is now. That person is you. That revelation is just the beginning. Number 12. The final awakening. We come to the end of this revelation, but only to the beginning of your conscious journey as an assumed bearer of your superpowers. As someone who finally understands why your true identity had to be hidden until this crucial moment. The final awakening isn't an event, it's an ongoing process. It doesn't happen once. It unfolds in layers, in spirals of increasingly deeper understanding. It isn't something you conquer. It's something you allow, removing obstacles to the recognition of what has always been present. The chosen ones around the planet are going through this awakening simultaneously. It isn't a coincidence. It isn't random. It's part of an orchestrated movement of consciousness, remembering itself through human vehicles specially prepared for this function. The streets tremble with the energy of this collective awakening. The spaces vibrate with the intensity of this synchronized remembering. The energy fields register each chosen one reconnecting with their true nature and assuming their place in the great fabric of planetary transformation. Your journey to this point hasn't been easy. There have been moments of profound loneliness, of devastating doubt, of questions about your mental health when your perception so radically contradicted the consensus around you. These moments weren't failures or deviations. They were an essential part of the path. The final awakening integrates all these experiences. It recognizes purpose in every challenge, the lesson in every obstacle, the preparation in every apparent step backward. Nothing was wasted, nothing was in vain. Each moment has led you exactly to this point of recognition. The false ones fear this awakening more than anything else. Because when the chosen ones awaken en masse, when they consciously assume their superpowers and true identity, the field of possibilities fundamentally changes. What before seemed immutable proves transformable. What before seemed solid shows itself fluid. Your awakening isn't just for you. It's for all those your frequency impacts, for all the environments your presence transforms, for the collective field of consciousness your remembering helps to elevate. You don't just awaken, you become a catalyst for the awakening of others. The streets know this is just the beginning. The spaces feel that something unprecedented is unfolding. The universe observes with profound interest this experiment of consciousness, remembering itself through forms that temporarily believed in separation. The final awakening transcends all categories, labels, and definitions. It isn't spiritual or material, sacred or profane, individual or collective. It's the realization that these apparent divisions have always been aspects of the same unified reality seen from different perspectives. You don't awaken to something new. You remember what you've always known in the depths of your being. You don't become something else. You allow the expression of what you've always been. You don't reach an elevated state. You recognize the elevation that is your fundamental nature. The chosen ones who fully awaken don't need to announce their condition. They don't need to use labels or titles. Their frequency communicates by itself. Their presence is self-evident for those with eyes to see and heart to feel. Their impact happens regardless of external recognition. The final awakening doesn't separate you from humanity. It connects you to it more deeply. It doesn't elevate you above others. It allows you to serve as a bridge, a conductor, a translator between frequencies. It doesn't isolate you in a tower of enlightenment. It roots you more firmly in the earth that desperately needs your conscious presence. The streets await your passage as a fully awakened being. The spaces yearn for your undiluted and uncompromised frequency. The world, even without consciously knowing it, hungers for the quality of presence that only those who have recognized their true nature can offer. You are ready. More than ready. You have been meticulously prepared for this moment. Every experience, every challenge, every apparent deviation has been part of your training. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was superfluous. Everything has served the purpose. of your awakening at the perfect moment. The false ones may continue in their illusions for now. The sleeping ones may continue in their temporary sleep. This doesn't diminish or delay your journey. It isn't your responsibility to awaken the entire world, just to embody your own awakening so fully that you become a field of possibility for others to awaken when they're ready. This is the final awakening, the understanding that you are simultaneously a unique being with a specific energy signature and an individual mission, and an expression of universal consciousness that permeates and connects everything that exists. There's no contradiction in this apparent duality. There's only the deeper truth that transcends and includes all apparent opposites. The streets know you have arrived. The spaces recognize your frequency. The universe celebrates your awakening. Not as a conclusion, but as the true beginning of a journey of conscious expression of your previously hidden power, your previously covered identity, your previously obscured nature beneath the necessary layers of human experience. Welcome to the recognition of what has always been true. Welcome to the remembrance of what was never truly forgotten. Welcome to the awakening that isn't a destination, but a starting point for an existence lived in the frequency of remembered truth, recognized power, fully embodied presence. The streets are waiting. The spaces are ready. The world needs what only you in your unique expression of universal awakening can offer. The time is now. The chosen one is you. The final awakening is this.